I'm just gonna record this. So we're talking about polynomials. A binomial has 2 terms, a trinomial has 3 terms, and a polynomial is anything with more than 3 terms. If you have a number by itself, we know that it's given the word constant. This and this describe linear functions because they're in the form y is equal to mx plus b. This is something called a quadratic, which we're going to learn about later in our grade 10 course. And this is something called the cubic function. We actually learned this later on in like grade 11 or 12. But they are words that you should be familiar with. I wasn't planning on taking this up, but did anyone have any questions? Oh, actually, you know what? Let's do a couple of them. So let's talk about power laws. I've written the power laws on the side over there. Remember, if you have the same base and a multiplication sign, you're going to add the exponents. Same base division sign, you're going to subtract the exponents. And then when you have a power of a power, you multiply the exponents to get 12. So if I were to do questions like this, what did you guys get for C? Yep, so I'm going to multiply the coefficients first. 2 times 7 is 14. And then I have an x squared times an x. All you're going to do is you're going to add the exponents together to get x to the power of 3. How about question D? What'd you get for question D? Safir? Good. So again, -4 times 3 is -12. A squared times a to the power of 1, add the exponent to get a to the power of 3. B to the power of 1 times b to the power of 3, add the exponent to get b to the power of 4. How about question E? We're dividing this time, Angelique? Perfect. So 20 divided by -5 is -4. X to the power of 3 divided by x to the power of 2 is x to the power of 1. You don't need to write down the 1. And then y to the power of 4 divided by y squared is y squared. I also wanted to take up question G. It's just distributive property with a lot of fractions. You guys remember the very first week we did all of this stuff? So I'm just trying to remind you of the things that we learned because our unit is algebra. We're going to be working with variables and things like this a lot more. So remember, when you have a number outside of the bracket, we're going to multiply everything inside of the bracket with that number. And then we're going to do the same thing again on this side. Okay, so what's that going to look like? Well, first, we multiply the coefficients. So we have 1 over 3 times 6, which is going to be 2. X squared times x to the power of 3. Power laws tell me I have to add the exponent. So it's going to be x to the power of 5. Good job. Then we do the next part. A third times -9 is -3. What happens if you don't have a variable here? It's just x squared times nothing or 1. Yeah. It would just be x squared. Yeah, you just glue the x squared beside it. What'd you guys get for the second bracket? A volunteer for that for you? Good. Excellent. Yep, excellent to the power of 2. Let's keep going. Does someone want to select like terms and add them up and tell me what you get? Amina? Yep. Yep. Keep going. Yep. Try again. -9. Because same sign, add the numbers, keep the sign. I know you knew it. You just were missing the 3x squared. Good. Remember, -3 minus 6, same sign, add the numbers and then keep the sign. So 6 plus 3 is 9, and then you keep the sign in front of them. Yep. No, if it's like terms, the variable and the exponent stay together. Yeah. Okay, isn't this just like the worst quality? I will try to get it fixed. Samira? That's the end of the question because these are now unlike terms. You can't add or subtract them. You just leave it as is. Because the exponents are different. Oh. Only multiplying and dividing. Yeah, not adding. Yeah. Was this a good review? Did anyone have any questions about this from grade 9, or are we okay with that? Yeah? Okay, are you guys staying awake in this very dark, gloomy classroom and day with a really crappy projector? Yep. Yep. Yeah, because they're unlike terms. Okay, so our new grade 10 concept, our new grade 10 lesson is multiplying binomials. We haven't learned how to do this in grade 9. In grade 9, we learned how to multiply monomials, which we just reviewed. Now we're going to talk about what happens when we have a binomial times another binomial. There is a specific method. It is called the FOIL method, F-O-I-L. And basically, it works as follows. You first have to recognize that these two terms are the first ones, and these are the last. So F in FOIL stands for the letter, for the word first. I'll actually just write that here so you guys can see it, F-O-I-L. So what we're going to do is first we're going to multiply the first two terms together. So we're going to have 2x times 3x. We multiply those. This second step listed here, you don't actually have to write down. It's just to really show you what's happening. But we're going to learn to go from the questions directly to this step. So basically you multiply 2x times 3x, which gives you 6x squared. That's the first term. The O in FOIL stands for outer. And outer is basically this term and this term. So our second step is you're going to multiply 2x times 7, which I wrote down here. That's going to give you 14x. The I in FOIL stands for inner, and the inner numbers are these ones here. So you're going to multiply 3 times 3x, which we wrote down here, and that gives you 9x. And then the L in FOIL stands for last. So you're going to multiply the last two terms. So 3 times 7, which you wrote down here, which gives you a 21. So whenever you're multiplying binomials, you follow the first, the outer, the inner, the last, and you always end up with 4 terms as your answer. Yep.
So you can go like 2x plus 3 first. You can do
right? You could do them in a different order. I always recommend doing them in FOIL. It just like, then you remember first, outer, inner, last. It's just easier that way. If you take a look at that step though, you're going to notice that you actually have 2 terms that are like terms, right? They have the same variable, same exponent. So you can add those together. And so our final answer is going to be 6x squared plus 23x plus 21. What is that sign right now? Oh, what does this mean? I don't know what that means. Okay, so let's use the FOIL method and try to multiply the binomial x plus 9 times x plus 1. I like this one because you can clearly see like first, outer, inner, last. So we're going to multiply our first two terms, which is x times x. What is x times x going to give us? Freya? It's going to give you x squared. Good. Then the O in FOIL talks about the outer two numbers, which you can see in blue over here. So we're going to multiply x times, what's x times positive 1? Or any number times positive 1. Angelique? Close. Just x. So you can actually write 1x if you want. You don't have to write the 1, but really x times 1 is just 1x. Then we're going to multiply the I with the inside numbers, which you can see in the yellow. What is positive 9 times x? Plus 9x, good. And then our last is in purple, positive 9 times positive 1, which would be positive 9. Good. So first, outer, inner, last. I tried to color code it so it keeps with the picture, and hopefully that helps you guys see it a little bit more. Are we done with this question? What else can we do? Yep, you can gather like terms. You can add the two x's together. And when you do that, you're going to get x squared. What's 1x plus 9x? Yep, how many? 10x plus 9. And that would be your final answer. Does this make sense? Any questions so far? Okay, go ahead and try question number 1 yourself while I figure out this mystery. All right, if you're watching the recording, we just did question number 1. The answer was x squared plus 3x plus 2. Now we're going to question number 2. Again, we have a question with 2 binomials. We're going to FOIL them. And then there's an additional part that you'll find this in your textbook. It says, verify the solution by substituting y is equal to 1. They almost want you to check your solution, so I'll show you how to do that. First, can I get a new volunteer to help me FOIL this question? Anyone want to try it? Najib, go ahead. No, you can also say it out like that. So 3y times 4y, which will be 12y squared. Yeah. Yep. Good. That actually helps people because then they can follow your steps. Next. Yep. Good. And then your final answer. It's coming up, I know. Yep. Yep. Good job. Okay. So when we FOIL this, we think this is our answer. Now, this isn't an equation. It's not a left side, right side. So when it says verify the solution, basically what you're going to do is you're going to put y is equal to 1 into the original question, and then you're going to put it into the answer. So how do I show my work for that? I do this. So my original question is going to be 3y minus 2 bracket 4y plus 1. And I'm just going to put y is equal to 1 into this and see what I get. So it's basically 3 times 1 is just 3. I'll write all the steps. 3 times 1 minus 2. And then this is going to be 4 times 1 plus 1. 3 minus 2, 4 plus 1. And our final answer when we multiply this is just going to be the number 5. Yep.
So make sure for the answer we got.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Like our answer for the next one has to be number 5 from
Okay, so look, I think I get what you're saying. So you put the y into the original question, you get 5. Now you're going to put y into this FOILed answer. So I just call it the FOIL, like whatever I've FOILed. It's not the official term at all. It's just a term I use. And then I'm going to put the answer I got, which is 12y squared minus 5y minus 2. And I'm going to put y is equal to 1 into this. And I'm hoping I'll get the exact same answer. So it's going to be 12 1 squared minus 5 times 1 minus 2. And then you just keep going and simplify. And you're hoping to get the exact same answer, which we have. And so that means our answer is correct. Is that what you were kind of saying, Samira?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What's the difference, Jennifer? There is a coefficient of 3 for question number 3. So I'm going to show you how I do it. There are actually 2 different ways you can do this question. I will just show you one of them and I'll explain the other one. What I like to do with a question like this is I like to keep the 3, that 3 that you see, I like to just keep it outside. And then I go ahead and FOIL my binomials and keep them inside brackets. So it's going to be 3 times. Can I get a volunteer to help me FOIL these? Maybe someone I haven't heard from yet that wants to try. Want to try? Letitia, go ahead. So 2x times x, no, it's okay. 2x times x is going to give me 2x squared. I'll walk you through it. And then 2x times 4, I think this is where you said 8x. Good. Negative 1 times x is going to give you negative x. And negative 1 times positive 4, negative 4. Good job. So I FOIL it, and then I also just clean up these signs. I collect like terms. So what's 8x minus 1x going to give me? Scran? It's just going to be 7x minus 4. So do you notice I haven't done anything fancy? All I've done is I've taken that term and that term, I FOILed it, and I got this. Now, do we know how to deal with the 3 in the front? What do we do with that? Yeah. Yeah, you just distribute it, and then you'll get your final answer. So I'll just multiply 3 times 2, which will be 6x squared, 3 times positive 7, which will be 21x, and 3 times negative 4, which is going to be negative 12, and then that would be your final answer. I'll show you one other way to do this question, and then you can decide which one you prefer and which one you like. Another way to do this question is you actually start by distributing the 3 into that very first bracket. So I'm going to take the 3 and multiply it to the 2x, so I'm going to get 6x. And then I'm going to take the 3 and multiply it to the negative 1, so I'm going to get negative 3. So see what I did? I just took the 3 times 2x and I got this, and then 3 times negative x and I got this. And now I'm going to FOIL this. So 6x times x is 6x squared. 6x times positive 4 is 24x. Negative 3 times x is negative 3x. Negative 3 times positive 4 is negative 12. And then I clean up the signs and I get exactly the same answer. You guys can decide which one you prefer, which one you find easier. You'll get the exact same answer either way. Is there one way that you do prefer? All right, so for this question, I want you guys to identify that there are actually multiple parts to this question. We have this part over here minus this part over here. So basically, you're going to be foiling this minus foiling this, and then collecting like terms and doing everything. So it's basically 2 FOIL questions all together in one question. All right, so just do it in stride, take it one part at a time. I'm going to keep the 2 outside, and I'm going to go ahead and FOIL these 2 brackets. 3y times y is going to be 3y squared. That's first. Outer will be 3y times negative 1, which will be negative 3y. Then I for FOIL is the inner. Positive 2 times y is going to be plus 2y. And then L stands for last. By the way, I'll just write down the word FOIL so you guys can see what I'm talking about. L is last, which is positive 2 times negative 1, which is going to be negative 2. Minus. And then I'll do the exact same thing again here. I'm going to make sure to keep this in brackets so I don't mess up my signs or anything like that. Does anyone want to volunteer and tell me this one? Angelique, go ahead. Good. So remember, outer means y times positive 1. Just y, yep. And then inner means negative 2 times 2y. Negative 4y times positive 1. Negative 2, good. You guys, the hard part of this question is now done. Now I'm going to go ahead and clean up the stuff inside the bracket. So over here, if I'm cleaning stuff up, I need to clean that and I need to clean that. So it's going to be 3y squared. And by cleaning, I just mean collecting like terms and solving. What's negative 3y plus 2y? Hamengi? Negative 1y, yep. Minus 2, and then this is minus 2y squared. What's positive y minus 4y? Negative 3y minus 2, yep. This question is what I like to think of as a grade 9 question because it's just distributive property. And that's why I had that on the very first sheet that you did. Basically, this is a 1, this is a 2. You're going to take the number outside and distribute it inside. So this will be 2 times 3 is 6y squared. 2 times negative 1 is negative 2y. 2. Did I go too fast or does it make sense? Make sense? And then this bracket is -1 times 2y squared, which is negative 2y squared. -1 times -3, which is positive 3y. And -1 times -2, which is positive 2. Anyone want to tell me their final answer when they collected like terms? Safir? Plus y minus 2 is our final answer. Good job. So in terms of level of difficulty for foiling, this is probably something you'll see. I could add fractions, of course, and make it a little bit more difficult. All right, for extra practice, you are going to be completing handout A, which is attached to the handouts I gave you. There are 7 questions there with the answers at the bottom. And then there's also textbook questions. So page 137, numbers 1 to 5, 8, 18, 19, to give you a little bit of more practice. Yeah.